tight spot here. If you don't mind pulling those toes off, that's it. You can relax. One more big hook.
Well, sometimes these things, when you're traveling on the road full-time and even part-time, these things are going to happen.
To you.
Well, they can happen to anyone. Hey guys, it's Chris and Katrina with our Everyday Getaway, and we wanted to do a video, a real-time video. I know if you've been watching the channel and keeping track of us, last video we were at the Black Hills and we're working our way out towards Colorado, Durango, and Mancos and Mesa Verde National Park. But we wanted to do I guess you could call it a real-time video, because this past week we had some major
medical issues.
Yeah, it was an emergency medical issue that you yourself may face when you're RVing on the road, be it part-time or full-time. Tell them what happened.
Okay, you want me to tell your story?
Well, you could start that,
okay.
Sure.
Okay. So pretty much for the last week or so, Chris has had abdominal pains in the evening pretty much that kept him up for hours at night. And then I guess it was it Saturday night or Sunday night? It just got so bad that it was like, that's it, we're done. We're going to the hospital.
Yeah, I couldn't deal with it anymore, and we had to go to the emergency room.
And if you know anything about small towns or rural areas, some of those hospitals aren't equipped to handle all kinds of surgeries and situations. And that's what happened to you.
Yeah, you guys, here's a chance for all of us to learn from this. If you don't know, when you're traveling on the road, if you go to a remote area, actually, if you're going to you're going to camp in BLM land or wherever you are, it's in your best interest to find out which hospitals are close to you, so that if there's an emergency, you know where you can go. And so often, I think it gets overlooked. We're more concerned about going to a certain area and making sure the rig's got everything we need, or camping in another area where we're close to a national park or sites, whatever, right, that we tend to overlook the health issue of it. There were two hospitals close to us. Mm-hmm. There was one in Cortez and there was one in Durango.
Right.
The one in Durango was about 30 minutes farther away. And after doing some research, the one in Durango we thought was much better. It was worth the 30-minute extra drive to go to that hospital, and that's exactly what we did.
We did, and again, they just weren't equipped to do the kind of surgery that Chris needed for the gallbladder, so they suggested, pretty much told us that we needed to get Chris on a plane over to Colorado Springs to another hospital.
We have the choice of sending you to three. Mm-hmm. One in Albuquerque, one in Grand Junction, and the other in Colorado Springs. Of course, Colorado Springs was the farthest one away. It's a 6-hour drive from where we're camped. We were a little concerned about the cost. Well, we were a lot concerned about the cost of flying us into Colorado Springs.
Well, here's the thing. They couldn't even take him by helicopter because it would have to stop and refuel. It was too far away. I asked repeatedly to the doctors, can't I just drive him myself to a closer hospital that is equipped to handle this kind of situation? And they just said, nope, his liver numbers or count is too high. It's an emergency situation, cannot happen. Because, of course, we're going to do whatever the doctor tells us because of Chris, that comes first. But when you're thinking, oh my goodness, they have to fly in a jet, in an airplane, that far away, we're thinking, wow, that's going to be tens of thousands of dollars. We have insurance, but you never know.
Yeah, we don't know what our insurance will cover.
Right.
We seriously considered driving to Grand Junction, about 3.5 hours away, and just starting the process all over again. But they were adamant that my numbers were really problematic. They were just really concerned. We need to get you to a hospital as quick as possible. And they also made it sound as if surgery would happen that night, which it didn't happen. We had to wait a few days for that. Faced with that decision, we decided to bite the bullet, and they had to airlift me on a plane to Colorado Springs.
Yes.
Where we checked in on a Sunday.
Or Chris checked in.
Yeah, I checked in. And Katrina stayed behind.
What I had to do was, first of all, we have our dog with us, so I have to make sure that he's okay. You can't just leave him for days in the RV. I had to call around to where we were supposed to go the next morning, which obviously we did not get to go to. I had to see if I could rearrange those plans. The place we were at currently, it's Labor Day weekend coming up, so they were very booked. They actually took hours before they could figure out a way to leave me in the spot I was in, because I don't know how to put everything away and do everything that needs to be done to move from spot to spot, nor can I drive the RV. That being said, we could have moved over to Durango for the week. At the end of the day, if they could keep us here, it was just easier. We have friends in Durango that were gracious enough to offer to drive the RV up to Ouray or take it to Durango. We just opted to stay here. So
Here at the campground, we've been here for a month, and everyone here is fantastic.
well, we've made lots of friends here, and because we've had lots of issues. We'll talk about it in another video, but we're like the troublemakers at this campground. It's getting kind of be a little bit comedic. After you got situated there, I was finally able to drive out because they said your surgery was going to happen yesterday, or the day before, I'm sorry, and it did.
I think the thing that we want to stress, the importance of having some sort of plan. Just have a plan when you arrive at a campsite anywhere, or if you arrive on BLM land, especially BLM land, if you're out in the middle of nowhere, get your bearings together, find out where the closest hospital is, and find out whether or not it's going to be able to handle anything serious. Of course, you may not know that until you get there. It's also important to get to know your neighbors at a campground. We have made friends here. They were so helpful in anything we needed to deal with this situation, because basically Katrina was here by herself.
Which I can handle being by myself, but it's crazy how things just keep on multiplying, and they just, it's like anyway, they just keep multiplying. Well, I get up the morning to go get Chris, and the Jeep is not starting now. So I have to have it jumped by the people here. I get Tucker in the car. I make the hike over there. I get there. I have to leave Tucker in the car with the windows open with a bowl of water. He's fine. I check on him every half an hour or so. I get up to Chris's room. Don't you know, the phone rings, and this wonderful person I answer the phone, and she wants to know, she knows our tags are from out of state, wants to know if she can take Tucker to her house.
Yeah, that was very nice.
Who
of
does
her.
that?
We didn't want to bother anyone with Tucker.
No.
He's a big responsibility. And we just didn't want to burden anyone with taking care of Tucker. So Katrina brought him up to Colorado Springs, which it was a tough situation to be in. 6 hour drive to come out there. So thankfully that all worked out well. The surgery worked out well. It took a little longer than.
Can I say one more thing about that? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. So I guess our other thing we're talking about is that, so your animals, your pets, what do you do if there's an emergency situation and you don't have anywhere to take your pet to? So luckily it worked out for us.
But these are the things that you need to consider when you're traveling on the road. It's one thing when you're traveling on the road and you get to a large metropolitan area. Let's say you go to Orlando, or if you're close to Dallas, Fort Worth. In Maryland?
We're from like the DC, Virginia, the DC, Maryland, Baltimore area. And we have some of the best doctors and facilities, hospitals in the nation.
Yeah.
And we're just used to that. So
We just take it for granted.
Yeah, and we think to ourselves, if you go to an emergency room and they have a hospital there, obviously, that they're going to be able to handle it. We had no idea that the hospital would not be able to handle a situation.
Yeah, when we were in Durango, we asked our friends, is there a hospital here? And they were like, oh, Mercy. Yeah, Mercy's great. And they were nice, but for what I needed,
right,
they just did not have the specialists on hand. And these are things you need to consider when you're on the road. Kind of make a plan, get your bearings together. We're not trying to scare anyone. We're not trying to discourage anyone. But this is all part of the overall package of RVing, whether it's part-time or full-time. You like to pick out your campground, your location, your BLM location. You like to do all of those things, but also keep in mind when it comes to health and having the insurance. I mean, God forbid you don't have the insurance to pay for an airlift flight, but you have to be airlifted. I guess you would just have to deal with it.
You would just deal with it.
You have no choice. These are some concerns or some issues you want to think about when you're driving and traveling and camping on the road.
And again, wives, spouses, friends, whatever, they need to be able to drive that RV.
I guess I got to teach her how to drive the RV.
We were just talking about this
Yes.
the other day. We're hanging out with our friends, like we said, Kevin and Laura and Dorindy at Out of Town. We were hanging out, having a nice time, and we even talked about
Yeah.
it, you know. Katrina needs to drive, you know, and Chris, no. And then here comes an emergency. So actually, one of our friends even offered to fly out and teach me how.
Yes.
Thanks,
We
Deb.
had a lot of offers
Thank you.
from friends
We
and
did.
family who are willing
Yeah.
to move the RV for us and drive the RV. So yes, she's going to have to learn how to drive that beast sooner or later, because, you know, we were putting it off thinking, it's not going to happen. And here we are out in a remote area of Colorado,
Down
and
God's
sure
country,
enough,
and,
it happened.
yeah.
I'm doing well. I'm a little sore. Things went well with the surgery, and I'll have to take it easy. Our plans were altered, which is all part of the game when you're traveling on the road full time. But we just wanted to get out this, I guess, a PSA, if you will,
Sure.
for all RVers. Think about where you are and where you need to go if there's a health issue, and plan accordingly. The same way you plan when you go to a campground, you should have some idea of where to go if there is a tornado warning or something. So these are just one of the things.
Just
that
another thing that
just
we
another
didn't
thing.
think about, that hopefully it'll help someone else out, and
Yeah,
you can plan.
Once again, you don't think about it much at all, especially if you're in a big area where
Right.
I'm sure there's plenty of hospitals. But man, you get out to a remote area and there's nothing around. And like I said, the hospital in Cortez was much closer, but the ratings, the reviews were horrible. And I wasn't going to take a chance with my health. And we're going to be going up to Ouray and Gunnison, I think, Colorado, and both
Yes.
places have limited health facilities, right?
Yes, yes.
So if anything
I
happens,
think we would have to go to Grand Junction.
yeah, it's a 3.5 hour drive to
Yeah.
Grand Junction, and that's
From
just.
there or from here?
I think from there it might be another 3 hour drive. Maybe not. We'll look into
I
it.
don't think quite as far.
But there's nothing
still.
in Ouray, and there's nothing I think in Gunnison.
So when I called to rearrange our reservation, which they were kind enough to do for us, she made sure to tell me we do not have a hospital here in town in the area that can handle anything like that. So it was good that we were able to come back here for a few days, let him rest, because heaven forbid he gets an infection or anything like that, or he could get pneumonia. So we have to be careful.
You know, we just wanted to pass this information on to you guys, let
Hopefully
you know.
it helps somebody else out there.
Yeah, help you guys out,
Yeah.
and think about these things and plan accordingly and learn from us. Where, like I said, we've been on the road 9 months now, and this has happened before with you and
This-
your eyes.
I had my eyes. I've had actually a couple of situations. I tried to go to emergency room one time, and they did suggest that I go to a doctor's office. But
Yeah.
you know what? It's worked out so far.
Yeah, we did a video on that. I'll put a link above where Katrina had issues with her eyes, and we had to find
I
a
still
doctor
do.
at the last second to
Yeah.
call around and see if there was a doctor that could handle it, and thankfully we did.
Had I needed surgery, I don't know what we would have done, because we were away from the hospitals that I would have needed
Yes.
to do the surgery. So I just got fortunate that time.
And we've been
So-
on the road full time 9 months now, and already we've dealt with this 2 or 3 times?
3.
3 times already.
Yeah.
And it hasn't even been a year yet. And already, you know, I don't know what's going on. I consider ourselves in pretty good health.
We're in good health.
So, you know, the gallbladder issue was a gallbladder issue. They removed my gallbladder. It was some stones that were causing me a great deal of pain. I passed the stones, and they went in and removed the gallbladder.
Bada
And
bing, bada boom, it's all done.
everything's good to go now.
Oh, it's
And
all good.
I'm still a little sore,
Okay.
but we're going to be okay. We're going to make this work.
There'll be no hot tubbing for Chris anytime
No,
soon.
no hot tubbing and no drinking for a while. Bummer.
Poor thing.
Yes,
Poor
well.
thing.
All right, well, there you have it, guys.
There you have it.
We hope this information can help you out on your future travels, whether you're a part-timer or a full-timer. We really hope you enjoyed this video.
Yes.
If you did, please give us a thumbs up. We really appreciate that. If you're not a subscriber, please consider hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell. You'll be notified every time we release a video.
That's right.
That's right. And remember,
right.
guys, any day you can get away is a great day. You guys take care.
Thanks, guys. See ya. Bye.